Thanks for being back with us on the McIver Reports. Here with Jason Nixon, MLA for Rimbey Rocky Mountain House Sundry. We have been talking about Jason's life and times. We've been talking about what brought him to politics. We've been talking about local issues in his riding. We've been talking about the United Conservative Party and Jason Kenney becoming the leader. We've been talking about Rachel Notley and how she might attack or deal with the situation as the next year and a quarter come up. So let's actually start, Jason, with the year and a quarter. Will it be a year and a quarter, or do you think Premier Notley will pull the trigger early or maybe even extend for an extra year? What's your call on that?
Well, that's one of the biggest questions in politics right now. I think she's going to call it on time. That's my guess. I have nothing to back that up. I think given the current poll numbers, the NDP aren't going to want to roll the dice. They will be tempted to go late, but I think they know Albertans will not accept them breaking the election law. And given what the PC party did last time, I think there's going to be some caution. Clearly Albertans didn't like the idea of messing with elections, snap elections, those type of things.
Yeah, I think Albertans made their feelings known about a snap election last time around, and they made it known pretty severely.
Yeah.
And as, I would say if the Premier goes an extra year, she has thrown in the towel. Yeah. She said there's no way we can win, so we're going to grind through as much of our legislation as we can before we get thrown to the curb. Somehow I think she's too smart for that. Rachel Notley's a smart person. Yeah. I think she's going to give herself a chance to win. So I think she'll go as late as she can on the regular schedule unless she sees an opportunity. Yeah. Somebody opens up with some kind of a bozo eruption or some crazy position that the UCP takes, and she thinks she can capitalize. I think that's the only thing that really caused her to go extra early. Yeah,
I agree. I think she's going to try to hope the economy continues to bounce and those type of things.
So political armies march on their stomachs and on money and on volunteers. Who's going to raise the most dough in the next year? Because everybody's going to have their nose to the grindstone and be shaking the donor trees the best they can.
Well, quite frankly, the UCP needs to make sure they raise the most dough in the next year. The NDP have, as you know, Rick, a lot of union support and a lot of money they can get from other avenues to help with their campaigns. And we have to operate within the caps, and we're going to do that. But we need Albertans to help stand up with us and make sure we fill the coffers. One of the things we were told was to unite the parties. Clearly, by Albertans, we've been able to accomplish that. And now we're going to need help from Albertans to be able to make sure we have a big enough war chest to face the NDP.
And once you raise the money, then of course it's about strategy. Who do you think's got the? Listen, I'm not selling the NDP short. Who do you think's got the best strategists?
I guess our party's so new in some ways it's hard to know. I think the NDP have a tremendous amount of federal experience that have come along, and I'm not counting them out either. I think that they've built the base and that they have a chance in the next election for sure. And I think we should take it seriously. With that said, I believe the man that we elected leader has never lost an election that he was on the ballot for. Has a great amount of experience, with his time with Stephen Harper winning elections. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that works.
So have the NDP buried themselves so deep that no one will find them again, or have they built a base of support by showing that those people that would agree with them that they can govern without the wheels falling completely off enough that they're going to have a legitimate shot at the next election? Where do you see that lying right now?
I think the NDP have buried themselves in rural Alberta, but they could still win without rural Alberta, and I think they have a chance elsewhere. And the one thing is the left side of the political spectrum, the Liberals and the Alberta Party, I think that people that may vote for them in the future will not in this election because they will stay with a left-wing government in their mind, and they will stay with the NDP no matter what.
And I think that's the one thing that gives them a shot too, is the fact that the left-wing vote will probably coalesce around the NDP, because the Alberta Party, unless they really surprise me, and they might, haven't had time to establish themselves as anything. I mean, they tried to establish themselves as this wishy-washy center thing, and they never really had a position one way or another. And in my view, they kind of became the Liberal Party light. But then the Liberal Party's still there.
Yes.
And they have a new leader, though he's not sitting in the House. who knows what support he can rally. So what do you think those two parties have to do in order to keep their voters from all wholesale going over to the NDP in order to keep a left-leaning government in office? If you were David Kahn or whoever the Alberta Party leader is, what would you advise them to do?
I think they got to spend less time focusing on us and showing why they're different than the NDP. But second, I think they're going to want Albertans to realize the NDP is unlikely to win, to be able to shake some of their vote back to them. Because I just think that in Alberta, given that the long history of conservative free enterprise governments here, that people on the left side of the political spectrum are going to be tempted just to stick with Notley because it's the first time that they've had anybody like that in power in the province.
So you say they should tell people to try to convince people the NDP is dead, party walking?
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And so if you're on the left side of the spectrum, we're the bright, shiny choice. Yeah. And are they going to be able to raise any money?
Well, I think that they have a tough, the Liberal Party has always had a tough time in this province, let's be honest. I think the Alberta Party, their biggest problem is to build brand recognition, to build up their leader with only 12 months to go. I mean, we just elected our new leader with a little more time than them, but not much more. But, Mr. Kenney, of course, is well known for many decades in this province. They have a tough road to be able to explain themselves, particularly outside of Edmonton.
Well, it's my opinion that Justin Trudeau is burying the Liberal Party. Now, there's one thing he could do to turn that around. If he actually stands up, takes a hard position, and says, we're going to build that pipeline, and I'm going to take a few, lead with my chin a little bit and take some bruises in British Columbia, at least with the government. Although I think a lot of British Columbians want the pipeline too, because they understand the economic benefits. But if he's willing to stand up and actually do the right thing, and if he's going to do the right thing, he might as well own it and get the credit for it, because he's surely going to get the blame. And if he does that, it could actually buy some love for the Liberal Party in Alberta if Trudeau was to do that. I just can't read whether he's got what it takes to really make that happen.
I think as Trudeau and the federal Liberals are having a little bit of trouble right now in the polls, that their instinct's going to be to come to shore up places like BC, Ontario, Quebec, and it's not to their advantage to come look into Alberta to save the day on the pipeline. With that said, the Prime Minister made a commitment, and I believe he should honor it, but I'm not holding my breath, Rick.
Yeah, folks, I see a stark choice coming in 2019, a stark choice between continuing with the NDP government and have them finish the job of turning Alberta into an NDP province, which it takes 2 terms to do, or a return to the more safe, moderate, conservative government that led this province for 44 years. I would say imperfectly, but overall fairly well. So that'll be fun to watch.
If anything else, it's going to be interesting. And politics in Alberta was boring, many people said, for many decades, but it ain't boring right now. It's going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and if Ed Whalen was here, I think he would say that we were in for a ring-a-ding-dong dandy in the provincial election in 2019, and I would surely agree with that. And there's going to be lots to watch, folks. Thanks for being here on the McIver Report. It's been a real pleasure for me to have my good friend Jason Nixon here, MLA for Rimbey Rocky Mountain House Sundre. And for those watching for Alberta politics, we're going to put on quite a show for you in the next few months, so keep track. Don't be afraid to send us in a note if you have some comments. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the McIver Report.